Imagine you're driving late at night in southeastern Virginia. The map shows Colonial Parkway, 22-mile scenic stretch linking historic Jamestown, Williamsburg, and Yorktown. It's quiet. It's tree line. By day, it's one of those postcard perfect looking images, but by night, in the mid 1980s, it turned dangerous. Between 1986 and 1989, couples pulling over for a quiet moment found themselves in situations they never expected. Cars were abandoned, bodies missing or found, investigations that dragged for decades. 4 double victim cases, 8 young people, enough clues to suggest something dark, something smart, and something still lurking. Today, we're going to dig into another episode. Here, we're going to ride the route. We stop at the scenes, we dig into the victims, the vehicles, the investigations, and the suspects. We look at what happened and what didn't, because the road still whispers.
Dun, dun, dun.
The Dun Dun Queen strikes again. Welcome back, everybody, to another Yore Town Podcast. Boy, is it nasty outside today. Whoop! A little bit of snow, a little bit of ice.
A lot of bit of ice.
A lot of bit of ice, it is.
Wind.
Brutal. The Beard Law Studio is a little chilly tonight, but either way, we can't thank you enough for coming and hanging out. And this is an interesting one. Have you ever heard this one, Matt? Interesting. It's a bit of a doozy.
I have not heard this one.
Yeah, it's Virginia. A serial killer or that's out there going after couples. Ugh, not a good one.
I'm not going anywhere with you now. Okay.
That's pretty rude. Oh, okay. Do you think should we jump into this?
Yep.
All right. Without further ado, let's jump into it. Let's go back to October 9th, 1986. You got Cathleen, who also went by Kathy Thomas, 27 years old, a U.S. Naval Academy grad. You got Rebecca Ann Becky Dowski, 21, senior at the College of William and Mary. They leave campus. 3 days later, the white 1980 Honda Civic that belonged to Kathy was discovered at Cheatham Annex Overlook, down on an embankment off the parkway. Inside, they found rope burns on necks and on wrists. Their throats, they were cut, and they were very deeply cut. And the coroner actually described it as almost a near decapitation for Kathy. I probably should have warned people. Viewer and listener discretion is advised. I mean, better late than never, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we got pretty nasty scene already. And if it doesn't, that's not gross enough. There was diesel fuel that had been poured on the bodies and the vehicle, but never ignited. Purses and jewelry left behind. No robbery. No motive, it appeared. Investigators did note that the driver's seat was adjusted for someone taller than Kathy, and the blood in the car was very minimal. So what do you think that suggested, Meg?
Moved from another location.
Suggested those murders, they happened somewhere else. And it appeared that the car was actually moved. That first case, I feel like really set the tone. It was an isolated road. It was a young couple staging evidence already and a lot of unanswered questions.
Huh.
And it happened once. So you're like, it's an incident. It's terrible. Are you already thinking like wrong place, wrong time kind of vibes? I mean, obviously, it was a little bit of a spoiler alert. We know what we're getting into with the episode. But
if it was just the one, I would say wrong place, wrong time would be my guess. Knowing that there's more. I don't believe so.
Yeah, well, it's good to not believe that because, again, this was October 9th, 1986. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to fast forward a little bit to September 19th, 1987. Almost a year later. We have David Lee Knobling, who was 20 years old. Then there was a Robin Margaret Edwards. 2 days later, Knobling's black Ford Ranger was found at the Ragged Island Wildlife Refuge parking area. That's a lot to say. The engine was running. The radio was on. The doors were open. The window was partially down. Wallet was inside. So again, no robbery. September 23rd, their bodies washed ashore near the James River, which is about 100 feet apart. Both of the victims were shot. Robin in the back and Knobling was shot twice. So a year later, another victim. Probably at this point, they're really not tying them together, right? I mean, you wouldn't think. I mean, the only similar thing on this is no robbery. You know what I mean? There was no rope. There was no diesel. Kind of escalated a little bit from a slash to gun fire. Yeah. You're probably
quite different.
Very different. The only thing, some younger people, And all right, so that was September. Just a short little bit away, we would go to April 10th, 1988. Cassandra Lee Hailey and Richard Keith Call, they disappear after attending a party. They find the red 1982 Toyota Celica near the York River overlook. This one, keys, again, still in the ignition. Watch and glasses were on the dashboard. Doors unlocked. Bodies never found. All right.
Fishy.
So 1, bodies still in the car. 2, bodies dumped in the water, came ashore. 3, no bodies. September 5th, 1989, Annamaria Phelps and Daniel Lauer en route to Virginia Beach. They had a gold 1972 Chevy Nova, and it was found at a rest stop on the I-64 westbound. Though they were traveling east, keys in the ignition, doors unlocked. 6 weeks later, they find skeleton remains off a little bit of a logging road. Again, secure, rural road.
6 weeks
isolated.
later?
Yeah, that one was September. The one before was April. So a little bit longer, but yeah, 5 months or so, but yeah. So within a couple of years, we went from 86, so within 3 years, 4 murders. But I mean, not a ton of consistencies. There was some, pretty much just young couples, vehicles. They were found in isolated spots, often unlocked with keys or personal items left behind. But there was no robbery motive. Valuables, they were all left intact. The violence did range, there was gunshots, there was slashing, which kind of, because they were different, complicated the kind of a single killer theory, But there was a pattern a little bit, lover's lane style meets calculated predator in the woods. Man, scary, huh?
Yeah.
What do you think this person? Parent issues? Mental health issues? Probably. We've kind of started to develop a pattern where we see serial killers. They obviously have some issues in their youth.
And we don't personally see them.
No, we don't personally do. We're not doctors. Through doing this show, we have started to kind of see patterns.
Acknowledge the patterns.
Yes, thank you. That's why you're the smarter half of this duo. But what are you thinking? Man, female, older, younger? What do you get for vibes over there? All wise one.
Is it just one person?
Or is it just one person? What are you thinking?
Maybe it's a couple.
Oh, a couple killing couples? Or a couple is 2?
Like a couple.
Like a couple of killers?
A female and a male.
Oh, a Bonnie and Clyde serial killer?
Yeah.
We haven't seen that before.
If not, I'm going to go male.
Okay.
Bad childhood.
All right. Well, let's talk about the investigations for a little bit. Maybe some theories. Maybe even a little breakthrough, Meg. They start to get the FBI involved. Virginia State Police and local sheriff offices, they obviously were involved. And they started to form a task force. It's okay. Go ahead. You can have a little snack.
Continue.
Yeah. This episode is brought to you by York Peppermint Patties. Just kidding. It is not, but... little snack break. Key forensic clues in the Thomas Dowski case. There was a piece of nautical rope, which was found in Kathy's hair, combined with the diesel fuel that we did mention and the river shore scenes. Investigators theorized the killer likely had experience with watercraft or potentially was a waterman. Maybe a boater, maybe something. So they were getting water vibes, which makes sense. Near the water, bodies dumped in the rope. Right? There's another theory, impersonation of law enforcement. When Knobling's truck was found, the engine was running, the door opened, kind of suggested that the victims may have kind of complied with somebody. You know what I mean? Like, just kind of giving that vibe, the window kind of down, like, hey, yeah,
Right.
And without all the dash cams, the cell phones, and, cameras and stuff, you probably could throw a light in a vehicle and put on a fake costume and impersonate a little bit.
Right.
Analysis also pointed to staging. The cars were moved, the cars were adjusted, seat heights changed, the murders likely not committed exactly where the vehicles were found, like we talked about a little bit earlier. But the complication, there was different methods of killing, different cases, with the strangulations, the shots, all that stuff that they felt led to potential two possibilities. A single offender changing the MO drastically, or multiple offenders operating in the same region and same time frame. You got to remember, this is the 80s at this point, right? And it's another one of these cases where days turn to weeks, weeks turn to months, months turn to years, years turn to decades. And we're going to go all the way from the 80s all the way until January 2024 before they found a breakthrough. Virginia State Police announced that a suspect had been identified in two of the murders. Alan Wade Wilmer Sr. emerges, and Alan did pass away in 2017, 7 years before this breakthrough, but his DNA actually linked him to the 87 Knobling Edwards double homicide. Wilmer is linked to at least two of the cases, but they couldn't link him to all four. And the investigation, still to this day, does remain open for other victim cases because some of the families, they don't have any of the bodies, and some of the methods were, still unexplained. But the scene of the crime changed, the cultural perception of that parkway. Obviously, once a nice little scenic drive, But by the 90s, many locals, they avoided that place. Rightfully so, at nighttime. There was no more summer parties. There was no more late night drives. They were done. I have to imagine. It's probably for the best. And you just couldn't imagine decades after decades with those families that just kind of have to live with the what ifs. What if he'd been found sooner? What if evidence wasn't lost? Because apparently there was a little bit in the research that some of the evidence was mishandled, potentially destroyed, which made, the progress of this breakthrough much, much longer. We do see that in cases, and it's obviously easier for me and you to sit here and talk about like the mishandling of the case and the mishandling of the evidence and stuff. We don't know any of that. You maybe took a forensic class or something. I never did. But you got to think too, looking back, 30, 40, 50 years ago, things were much different with technology and the way they collected evidence and their thoughts or mentalities. So, they were just doing probably what they were taught, what they had done a million times. And it turns out it probably wasn't the greatest, but
did what they could.
They were out there putting the long hours in trying to find the killer or killers. But thankfully, technology's improved. DNA, like the the genealogy stuff, like the spit in the cup and see genealogy. And then they were able to just kind of be able to revisit old fingerprints and everything like that, re-interview witnesses, go through testimony, stuff like that. But this, amongst other of these cases, just shows how cold cases can kind of resurface when time and technology align. We've seen it time after time too, where a podcast or a mention or, an actual popular podcast, not ours, is able to, get a case reopened or relooked at too. So it's wild to think, but I just feel extra terrible for the one, set of victims where they just never found the body. So that family never got closure. It's tough. Tough thing, Virginia. You think? Virginia Beach. I've always wanted to go. Not sure I want to now. I'm sure it's fine now, but...
it's been a long time.
It has, but... Case just got resurfaced. But, I don't know. Yeah, what do you think? You got anything else you're thinking about this?
No. So they still think it's just the one guy?
They could...
Not sure.
They had all sorts of theories that it could have been this, could have been, but when it came down to the actual DNA, the actual science, they could only point him
to two cases.
To two of the cases, yeah.
Okay.
Crazy, right? Just thinks, I don't know. I'm still not convinced that it was that guy doing all four. You link them.
I think it was a duo.
Still could have been a duo. Still could have been a Bonnie Clyde situation. Yeah. Or, now that I'm kind of thinking about this, you got maybe a guy that just couldn't find love, had some mental issues, and was kind of upset that lover's lane was a thing. And he was just like, why can't I find love? And if you can't have it, if I can't have it, you can't have it, kind of thing. And sometimes then, when the murders and stuff start happening, then another one happens, like a little bit of a copycat killer. So maybe one was just a random one, or hey, maybe he did them all. Seemed like he was able to cover some tracks,
Still think there was someone else.
All right. Yeah. All right. Well, let's wrap this up, because it's always good to remember the victims, right? Kathleen Thomas, Becky Dowski, David Knobling, Robin Edwards, Cassandra Hailey, Keith Call, Annamaria Phelps, Daniel Lauer. Young people, lives cut short, families left with questions. I don't know, I'm having a hard time getting over the vehicles left and just keys in ignition, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And maybe that just tells a story for itself, because you just got the keys in the ignition, you got the watches on the seats, the doors unlocked. Like, these are just little details that probably haunt investigators and families. The why here, the why now, the what if, what'd they see, who saw, how did nobody see anything? But guess this case and others, they just offer us to reflect and I guess realize sometimes how good we really do have it, But in the end, the road still holds shadows. Some may have been solved, others are still waiting for the light. And the question remains, is this case closed, or is it just evolving? Do you think they'll link any of the other two to this person someday, or you think it's because it's still open, it's not a closed case, but or do you think
maybe
that'd be cool? If it does, we'll definitely do a follow-up on it.
Mm-hmm.
Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right. Well, Yore Townians, if you ever drive down the Colonial Parkway at night, take a moment to look at the overlooks. Feel the silence. Think about the fact that decades ago, some young people stopped there and things went horribly wrong. This has been the Colonial Parkway Murders, 4 double victim cases, 8 lives, many questions, some answers, because you know what? Keeping these stories alive and being able to have a date night with Meg in the studio is all that matters, right? And those victims, they deserve to have their names remembered, right? The families, they deserve justice. And yeah, we appreciate you being here, right?
Yes.
So we got, I'm Matt, and that beautiful woman over there is Meg, and this has been the Yore Town Podcast. We're going to do this again next week. I don't know what state, but we've covered them all. You want to pick a random state, or we'll just surprise them next week?
It's just a surprise.
Good, because I was probably going to forget what you told me. But either way.
My brain was saying Hawaii. I don't know why. Maybe it's because it's so cold today.
Hawaii. It is miserable today. That is facts. Hawaii? We did a case on Hawaii. It's just one of those things, like every state has some creepy stories. Thankfully, we're not traveling in the 80s, especially in the middle of America, because it got wild out that way. All right, well, stay warm, everybody. Stay safe. Keep your sticks on the ice. We'll be back next week. Bye-bye.